Roland Nielsen. Here's Barnes. Magnussen. Ingerson. 10. When we give them a bit of space, the Swedes push the ball around nicely. This is Joachim Nielsen holding off the challenge. He's got 3 up with him. Well played by Des Walker. And here's Waddle. And Des Walker's seen a chance to make a run outside Chris Waddle. And we've got 3 in the middle waiting here. And floated awkwardly away from the forwards, unfortunately, but also a rare excursion into the attack from England's number 5, Des Walker. This is the time of the game when we start looking towards the substitutes bench, because often managers make changes halfway through the second half, and we're nearly at that point now. Just look at Terry Butcher. He's just asked for another sponge or swab from the bench. There's Walker. In fact, Butcher's shirt is now more red than white. Here's Pearce. Oh, it's a bad ball by Webb. Magnussen, extra. Pearce. Here's Webb. Barnes to Beardsley. Barnes again. Beardsley. Nicely done by Peter Beardsley. Oh, just took on one too many. This is 10 away from a rather reckless challenge by Pearce, but Barnes takes up the loose ball. We are now halfway through the second half here in the Rosunda Stadium. A bloodstained Terry Butcher pumps the ball forward. And the score is still 0-0. And now Ekstrom's off again. Walker's coming in to help Butcher, who didn't need it. Probably a bit of blood on the ball now, I would think. Roland Nielsen. England fans giving Terry Butcher plenty of encouragement. It's a heroic performance, but he dived in a little bit there. This is Ekstrom. Magnussen's free on the left, and Gary Stevens will have to backpedal, which he did. Young looking for 10. Webb's marking him. Forward by Stevens. Larson marking Lineker. Joachim Nielsen, 10. Joachim Nielsen again. Danger here, 10. Ingerson's in a good position. Turned it back. It was Joachim Nielsen's shot that was blocked. 10 again. And finally it's Webb. But Joachim Nielsen found a good position there. And Sweden nearly found a way through. 24 minutes into the second half. And Waddle's lost the ball. Good spell for the Swedes, this. Johnny Ekstrom's come short. Here's Enquist.
Well, that one went harmlessly wide. Up until that stage, really, Sweden have been very reluctant to throw extra men forward. But that was a good move. But credit to the England back four. Terry Butcher, of course, there, wiping his blood away again, but all 4 of them have got tackles in. I think it was Stuart Pearce who got that vital block there as Sweden tried to hit the first shot. The back 4 have conducted themselves very well throughout the match.
So, it's forward by Butcher. We now have 20 minutes to go. The score is Sweden 0, England 0. I'm conscious that there are people who may be still joining us even at this stage in the game. If you're coming in from work, it's been quite an exciting match, bearing in mind we've had no goals. England have had the better of it, made perhaps the better opportunities, particularly for Lineker, but this at the moment is perhaps the best period Sweden have had in the second half. Neil Webb's the player being spoken to by the referee, and Sweden have a free kick for which Hussein has gone forward. And there is Hussein, and his run through was checked not really by Butcher. I think when Terry Butcher was given the captaincy in place of Brian Trevor, he hardly expected to finish up with a shirt like that.
Well, he's had one or two bad cuts, but certainly that seems to be the equal of any. I think it can easily distract from the fact, you know, because he's got blood on his shirt. Yeah, he has had an excellent match, and it's not a case of saying that because of the cut, with or without that, he has been a tower of strength.
Here's McMahon. Driven across the field by Waddle towards the other winger, Barnes. That's worked out quite well for England. Beardsley's touch to Barnes. And here's Webb. That hit Larson, it's Webb again. Couldn't control the rebound. Hussein glad to hook the ball clear. Good effort by Neil Webb initially. And a blow on the ankle, it would seem. And now Sweden, while Neil Webb is down, and England will have to start warming up a substituting case. Sweden are themselves preparing to bring on, I think, Glenn Stromberg. But again, the whole Swedish team are trotting across towards the bench out of your picture. There's Glenn Stromberg, number 15, and he is coming on. And he'll go into a midfield position. And it looks to me as if Klaas Ingerson, the young number 8, may be the player to have gone off. Certainly Stromberg, who bears a striking resemblance to Tony Curry, an old England midfield player, is on the pitch, and Neil Webb is the player down, receiving attention from Fred Street and Norman Medhurst. And if he has to depart, we may see Paul Gascoigne. Neil Webb came in for the first shot here. It was blocked by Peter Larson. It's as he tries to get the ball the second time, he falls, and in fact he was already holding his ankle as he went down.
It looks a bit worrying that when you see an injury, because I think he's clutching his Achilles tendon, and just shooting off the mark like that, sometimes you overstretch it.
Well, Gazza is on. 22 years of age, the Tottenham midfield player is on the pitch with about 17 minutes to go here in Stockholm, wearing number 14, and that's quite a responsibility. Bobby Robson, I know, did deliberate whether it should be Gascoigne or Hodge on the bench tonight, and it's Neil Webb's injury that's really given Paul Gascoigne his opportunity. Lineker. Stromberg is the 15 who's come on now for Sweden in place of Ingerson. So each manager using one of his 2 permitted substitutes here. Butcher. Beardsley. Barnes. And that was McMahon. Here comes Gary Stevens, foul. 16 minutes left in this important World Cup match, and disappointment for Neil Webb. Carried off in the second half and replaced by Gascoigne. That was on by Magnussen. Ekstrom's hovering. Butcher did the right thing. Here's Gary Stevens. Waddle. Played. Gary Stevens is now further down the right wing, and he'll have to hurry back because Sweden have possession. This is Endquist to Roland Nielsen. Just coming up to there's Paul Gascoigne, quarter of an hour to go, and you can see also that David Rocastle is standing in the background there for England. Quarter of an hour left, 0-0, McMahon on the ball. Stevens, Gascoigne's made a long forward run. Hussein blocks him. McMahon, Beardsley, little twist and turn. Lineker goes through. And he's penalised, trying to shake off Glenn Hussein. There's the situation then, with a quarter of an hour of this World Cup tie remaining. And England would appear to be on the point of making their second substitution. I would imagine that the midfield balance having had to be changed because of Webb's injury, Bobby Robson may feel David Rocastle a more containing player perhaps than one of his natural wingers. We shall have to see who goes off. Get Trevor's thoughts on it in a minute, but he's certainly going to come on. And that's a push by Des Walker. I rather think it might be John Barnes who's going to come off here. Yes, number 11 being held up. I don't think John's aware of it. In fact, he certainly isn't, because he hasn't looked in that direction and he's waiting to defend at the free kick. He's seen it now. So, 2 England substitutes in quick succession. Off goes Barnes to be replaced by Rocastle. We'll acquaint you with the change in formation when Sweden have taken this free kick, which could be dangerous. Young is forward and so is Hussein. 2 England players up to clear. Gascoigne. Push surely. Peter Larsson on Lineker. Now what's happened here, Trevor, tactically?
Well, really, John Barnes has gone off and David Rocastle has come onto the right side of midfield, where, of course, he plays for Arsenal. Chris Waddle has just come over onto the left-hand side. So it's just a tactical switch. John Barnes hasn't been able to really get past his man, Roland Nielsen, and perhaps just given an opportunity to fresh pair of legs down the right also.
13 minutes to go. Sweden 0, England 0. Free kick to England. McMahon. Terry Butcher. Well, he'll have to stay on now. This is Pearce. Beardsley. Fouls it. No, not given. Looked like a trip to me, but referee says play on. Don't think either manager would be heartbroken with a 0-0 result here tonight, bearing in mind the delicate situation in the qualification series. But nobody could afford to play for a draw, and they haven't either. Sweden, in fact, are going to make their second change any moment. So we'll then have 4 substitutes on the pitch altogether. And this is Anders Limpar, midfield player, coming on for Joachim Nielsen. So changes all round here now, with just about 12 minutes left. Butcher to take the free kick for England. Lineker. Endquist. Roland Nielsen. Hussein. Neat touches by Sweden, but England are crowding round them, and that's Paul Gascoigne winning it with the help of McMahon. And a little shove off the ball. The tussle was between 10, who has got a fiery temperament, number 7 for Sweden, who was at fault there. He fouled McMahon. So just to refresh your memory on what happened there, Gascoigne came on for Webb and Rocastle came on for Barnes. Sweden have also used their subs. It's a free kick to England with no score. Beardsley. Waddle. Waddle again. Trying to get round his man to get a cross in here. Return pass from Beardsley going astray. Do you see that changing anything much, Trevor, that series of substitutions?
Not really from England's point of view. Sweden's substitution, which was a straight swap on the left, Anders Limpar is more of an attacking flank man, so I'll be interested in whether he's allowed to do that or is going to still help out with Rocastle there.
Well, Rocastle has found Stevens. Lineker's gone to the right. Here's Rocastle again. Rocastle, good turning. And here's Beardsley. and he's leaving it for Pearce. England have got plenty of players forward in this attack. One of them is Waddle. And he's swung that one long and wide. Under 10 minutes left, plus injury time. Sweden 0, England 0. In a match which England have, at times, dominated. Certainly had the upper hand and opportunities to score. But Ravelli, the keeper, has stopped them a couple of times. And here's Rocastle now. Peter Larson. Beardsley. Stevens. McMahon. Walker. Is forward by 10. And Terry Butcher. Oh! Well, he recovered, fortunately for us. Apologises to Shilton in passing, and here's Waddle. Pearce. McMahon. Oh, and now it's Des Walker just careless for a second. Don't want to see too much of that from the centre-backs. This is Stevens. Stromberg for Sweden. Foul, 8 minutes to go. And still 0-0 after this heroic performance by Terry Butcher, soldiering on after a very deep and nasty cut in the first half following a clash of heads with Johnny Ekstrom. Free kick to Sweden then. Hussein takes. Stromberg's there. So was Ekstrom. This is Enquist.
Walker and Butcher just slightly getting in each other's way to make the clearance, and you know, with the game, I mean, Sweden aren't still pushing extra men forward. I mean, they seem quite content to just keep it 0-0, and England perhaps just got to make sure they don't get casual, whilst they themselves perhaps are thinking that the scoreline will be quite happy to stay this way in these remaining few minutes.
Well, it's certainly a result which, as I said earlier, would in a sense suit both nations. This is Magnussen. Both countries still have to go to Poland, but England and Sweden would be strong favourites to go through. Here's Waddle. Stevens. This is Lineker. He's worked hard with no real luck tonight. McMahon. Gascoigne hasn't had too much of the ball since he came on, but he's found Stevens. Rocastle. Goal kick given. We are now 6 minutes from the end, plus stoppage time, and Thomas Ravelli has so far managed to keep England out. At the other end, there was one distinguished save just before half-time from our own Peter Shilton. So the score remains Sweden 0, England 0. Stromberg. Enquist. Up goes Gascoigne. Lineker. Now Waddle, playing on the left since Barnes went off. Beardsley. Lineker. Little Beardsley trying to creep in between Hussein and Roland Nielsen, who cleared it. Well, it was 0-0 a year ago at Wembley. Is it going to be 0-0 again tonight? Gascoigne's made the run. This is Pearce. Oh, and Lineker didn't quite make contact. Only he knows how close he was. From his reaction, I would say very close. Rocastle. It's just not falling for Gary Lineker. This is Magnussen for Sweden to Enquist. Stromberg has made a long run down the left-hand side, but he won't reach that. And the home crowd turning a little there on Enquist, because with 5 minutes to go, there's no sign of a breakthrough. Offside, Lineker. Haven't been too many offsides in this match, fortunately, to disturb the flow of play. It's been competed in a good fashion. Oh, and chance for Magnussen, and penalty taken. There was no foul there. Beautiful tackle by Des Walker, so clean, took the ball, and all the shouts are from the crowd. Swedish supporters screaming for a penalty. Oh, and a mistake by Walker and Magnussen, and oh, goodness me, Walker, perhaps relieved at not giving away the penalty, suddenly, that was the clean tackle, suddenly had an absolute brainstorm there and gave Magnussen the clearest chance of the match. And we have Shilton to thank for an instant save. That was verging on footballing suicide, that pass from Walker. What would he have felt if Magnussen had scored there? In the meantime, it's Beardsley for England. And it's Lineker for England. And it's Waddle. And still Waddle. No side netting. Well, an awful lot there, Trevor, for you to talk about fairly quickly.
Well, Chris Waddle unlucky there, just pulling the right foot shot as it ran away from him. But the really key issue, as you see here, Chris Waddle turning inside, just put off by the tackle and pulled it into the side netting. Des Walker played it back thinking there was no one there, but Mats Magnussen had still been moaning about the fact that he hadn't got a penalty. But there's no question the referee's decision was 100% right. It was a great tackle.
Well, it was a great tackle. It was a horrendous back pass. Here's Limpar, fouled by Rocastle. We've only got about 2.5 minutes left, but now it's Sweden who are threatening. 10. Stromberg. Magnussen again. And tucked back rather more confidently by Walker's Nottingham Forest colleague Stuart Pearce. Magnussen may well reflect he should have done better. That's not taking anything away from Shilton. So rarely you see that in an international. 5 minutes from the end of a World Cup tie, it was almost unbelievable. 2 minutes to go. The score is still 0-0, although quite how I'm not entirely sure now. Here's Limpar for Sweden. Danger here again, and this time Enquist is knocked off balance as he was about to shoot by Walker. Well, I said it earlier in the commentary, we've often had Peter Shilton to thank. His presence was absolutely crucial there. It's Beardsley. Rocastle. Good running on the left, that's Anders Limpar who's just come on. They've got Magnussen in the middle with Ekström. It's still Limpar. Oh! Butcher gets a kiss from Shilton, but goodness me, there were a few hearts in the mouth there too, and I'm sure there were back at home. There's only a minute to go, Trevor. I'm going to ask you to try and sum the game up in a second, but all the excitement seems to be coming at the end of each half. This is Enquist. And now Ekström with Walker. Sweden are going for the win now. Enquist. Magnussen comes in, Butcher's challenge. Whistle's gone. And Trevor.
Another great header by Terry Butcher. Mats Magnussen going, pat him on the head because he came in, knocked him in the back. And although Sweden certainly had a couple of near misses there, Terry Butcher, I'm sure, saying that Shilton is all right, I was just knocking it back to you as it bounced off his shin. But really it would have been an injustice, I think, if Sweden had snatched victory there. They've been very content to keep things tight, considering they're the home side. They've been rather negative, haven't looked to win the game. And I think it would have been unfair of England, who I think over the 90 minutes had looked the better balanced side, have had the better chances if they had lost it in those closing minutes.
Well, no wonder he's checking his watch, Bobby Robson, because we are, in fact, at the end of the 90 minutes. The referee will now add on stoppage time. It's Sweden 0, England 0, and the match has come to quite a climax with that flurry of Swedish attacking. And Gary Stevens shakes off Limpar, who's been quite effective since he came on the left. But here's McMahon, and the referee raises his arm. And that is the end of the match. And this World Cup tie has ended in a 0-0 draw. I would say in the fullness of time, that will be seen to be a good result for both countries. It virtually means England are in the World Cup finals in Italy, barring a freak mathematical situation involving other groups that you'll obviously debate later. But it was a draw in a good contest. Terry Butcher, the hero, after that nasty cut in the first half, but he led England superbly. We survived a few scares towards the end, but over the game as a whole, we felt here in the stadium anyway that England made more chances and had more of the play. Certainly there was plenty of excitement, bearing in mind in the end it was 0-0. The game was played in a good atmosphere, a good spirit. We saw no trouble inside the stadium, that should be said, although of course there will be later reports of what's happened outside. But for the moment, the situation here in Stockholm, with England still leading the group, is that this World Cup tie has ended Sweden 0, England 0.
Just confirmation of that on our caption. We like to put our caption up. It actually means that England might just need a point in the final match away to Poland, but it'll depend on what Sweden do in their final two matches. They've got to play Poland and Albania yet, but it looks pretty certain that England will qualify. They would have done absolutely for certain had they won the match, but they've yet still to concede a goal in this qualification tournament. Now, we knocked Wales absolutely out of the World Cup at half-time. We'll correct that slightly by saying mathematically they could still be in it, but they've got remaining games against Holland and West Germany, and you see the predicament they're in there. So it looks pretty certain that they'll go out of the World Cup. But they were beaten in Finland 1-0 today. Lipponen was the scorer for Finland. Much better news for Scotland. This is a half-time score from Zagreb. Duria scored for them. If they win in Yugoslavia, they're certain to go through, which would make their 5th qualification running in the World Cup, which is a remarkable record. Scotland 1 up at the moment. Splendid news for them. The Republic of Ireland might qualify for the finals too, but this is a friendly match today. This is not a qualification match. Final score from Lansdowne Road. Republic of Ireland 1, West Germany 1, and good old Frank Stapleton doing the business there. His first goal for the Republic for 2 years. 1-1 was the final score there. Well, gentlemen, a remarkable match in the end, and a remarkable performance, Brian, by Terry Butcher taking over from you as captain today. I haven't seen sights like that on a football field before, I don't think.
I mean, obviously, you can see from the TV that it was a really bad cut. I mean, we could all see that, but, I mean, I'm just pleased that he's got through the game and he didn't sort of feel faint or anything like that, and obviously he didn't the way he played. You know, he's come through great.
Well, here now is he involved in that tackle where he gave away an indirect free kick. What was your make of that in the second
Well, I mean,
half?
you look at it and it's great skill, the way he flicks it over the lad's head, but, you know, when you're playing in foreign countries, the referees never allow you to put your foot up that high. You know, in the English league, you'd maybe get away with it, but not there.
Splendid.
The World Cup minnows of Bolivia are on the march, hoping to make it 3 wins in a row. Peru haven't won at all yet. Another defeat, their World Cup will